They'll lynch you, but he did, and he laughs at
Yes, everybody, Russ and the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well. If you're around here, where the hell have you been? But thanks for joining us. You join us at a rather rubbish time, but anyway, thank you. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a bloody good subscribe as per usual. Just the old house notes. We'll have the latest episode of the We Are West Ham podcast. That'll be out tonight, if not tomorrow, featuring West Ham Network's very own Rusty DJ Budden, giving my take of the Brighton game with James and Will. Check it. As you know, we have a partnership with them, a strategic partnership, and check them out. Show them some love. I've also got a YouTube channel which puts some clips on there as well, but we tend to put ours on there as well. But check them out. Any of your Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, Amazon thingamajig, the We Are West Ham podcast, if you want to have a listen to someone a bit different talking about West Ham. So what the difference in terms of the songs, not what a difference a day makes, what a difference a week makes. 70, 20, 100 and something little hours, but it's true. We come out of that Forest game going, woohoo, that's it, guys, come on, woohoo, Man United game, woohoo, we lost, but we played bloody well. And then Saturday came along, and it was absolutely appalling. And actually, I was having a chat with the guys from We Are West Ham podcast, and we made it. I mean, James, he was very disappointed, bless him, like we all were. But I think if we'd lost maybe one or two, we're almost fans. We almost write off a few games, don't we? Brighton away, a lot of us were confident of getting something out of it. Unfortunately, we didn't, but we were still confident. And then we thought, if you'd lost like 1 or 2-0, we go, it's Brighton, innit? We never play well against Brighton. But it was the manner of defeat, I thought. And, yes, they had hundreds of more passes than us with so much more pass complete. We just couldn't get the ball off them, and it's something which I've always alluded to a little bit about West Ham. We're too nice, I think, sometimes. We're too respectful in terms of having what that game cried out for. Sometimes you need. In some games, you need a Trevor Brooking. In some times, you need a Billy Bonds. And we needed a bit more Billy Bonds for that Brighton game. They were playing lovely football. We were letting them play lovely football. If we'd had someone like, a Mark Noble or a Julian Dix who could come on and just stick something on someone, not only would that galvanise the team, but the fan base would be like, yeah, go on, son, go, And it's not the way to play football. I know it's not lovely football, but needs must. And we needed something like that. We will be doing the ratings. It's not a very exciting ratings, as you appreciate, but we'll be doing it because come rain or shine, we're always here. Afternoon, is there something in the midweek, Walter? Look at the Man United and us both losing dog poop. Great shout. Yeah, good point. I mean, look at United. A real 7-0. I mean, against Liverpool as well. Easy today. All get 0. Well, we'll give them a 0, but yeah, never happier to have a Man United fans in the office. 5 minutes of abuse for our shocking display. Then back to laughing at them. Indeed, Adrian. Hi, dear Michael. Richard, good afternoon to you. 45 years following West Ham. That's the worst performance ever. No fight, no passion, no respect for the travelling fan base. And that's what I was thinking. Because even if we've played badly, me, I'll find a crumb. I'll find some sort of chef's kiss that we can, and I couldn't find it. And I think that's the first time ever that's happened to me, which is frustrating. I was thinking, and then I was thinking about other poor games, and I look back at when we, I think it's Pardew's last game, we lost 4-0 away to Brighton, very similar to the last few games of maybe the Pellegrini era, the Bilic era. I mean, I remember obviously Big Sam putting all the kids out against Forest, but even that we scored a goal. And it was the young kids, and there was nothing. I mean, even injuries. We had. Before the week started, we had a fully fit squad. Now then come Saturday, we had 5 players out. Afternoon, Luke. Moyes has lost the dressing room with his constant negative tactics. Haven't seen us get so mauled that badly since manhandled in Europe. Hard to believe Moyes is still employed, but we can turn it around. For me, it's the same. I mean, I'm like a broken record. I'll be honest. I don't think there's going to be anything happening that side now, to be honest, unless there's unless something happens at the Villa game. It's about just getting it's back in the team now and getting to the summer, almost crawling through this season now. Hopefully, maybe possibly some sort of conference success. I still think we've got. I still think we've got. I mean, I still think we've got enough in the tank. I think there's a lot of teams around us who are in this relegation dogfight. And I think we do play some of them. Yes, we play a lot of the top 6, top 10 teams. But for me, I prefer playing the top 10 teams because look at the Man United game. The team, it was almost exactly the same, bar 1 or 2 players from the Man United game to the Brighton game, and the difference in performance was night and day. So anyway, we can only hope misses the plane back from Europe. Moyes, just do it, please. I don't think it's going to happen, Andy. Thank God there's no chance of us going down, according to a lot of people. Not me, as we will go down with Moyes in charge. Pete, that's your opinion, mate. And I can totally see justification for that. Totally. Carrick said he would find it hard to turn down West Ham if they come calling. Carrick has a great chance. He certainly knows he's playing fantastic at the moment. Their sides are. And I think the trouble is that would. And again, the thing I think it was Gonzo was talking the other day, and he was talking about the bounce and how the sort of the news coming out is that the club think they would appoint someone like David Moyes to get us out of trouble. But and he says, well, we've already got one, but we've had the Moyes bounce. So actually, you'd need someone else. Someone like Carrick would come in. I think it would take him 2 or 3 games to start him, getting a philosophy. You've almost got to get in a manager who's going to play a similar formation. But it's about motivation, I think. We haven't got a side that's bad. We've got a very good, on paper, side. It's for me, it's organisation, it's motivation. And I thought we do need some sort of change, whether it's a change in performance, whether it's a change in formation. Obviously you brought in Danny Ings. I thought that would have been a change, but it just seems. And I think, to be honest, this year it's going to be like this all season, all for the rest of the season. The last 13, 14 games, we're going to have really good performances, shit performances. It's going to be like that. We're not going to have any consistency, and I don't think any side in that bottom section is having any consistency. Southampton beat Chelsea, and then they beat Leicester, but they've lost other games. Leicester have done this as well. Everyone's doing that, and I think the teams that basically will do that and then drop will stay up. Carrick, he does. As Russ Fulham said, I do apologise. I was just finishing off talking with the guys that we are West Ham podcast. Rating should be easy. None above 6 yet. You're right. Good afternoon, Corky. Toby's in the chat. I'd love Carrick. Won't have any competition to Moyes. Do you know what? I find that interesting, actually, because I think there's some interesting numbers. I think it's it's about 5-6 million quid now. To basically bring in, to get rid of 1 staff members, and then to bring in, you're looking at probably about the same, I'd say. But so surely the cost of being relegated, at the end of the day, it's a gamble, isn't it? It is totally a gamble, whatever happens, I think now, which isn't a great position to be in. It's a gamble if you twist, it's a gamble if you stick. And unfortunately, none of us, despite the fact that we've got of our opinions, we can't make a decision. There's only a few people who make a decision in terms of the board. So regardless of what we say, regardless of whatever we say, we don't make a decision, unfortunately. And then in terms of the gamble, who you bring in, do you bring in Benitez? But then Benitez wants a 40-month contract or something like that, by all accounts. Although he was in the country. Apparently he was at the Man City game the other day. So we just don't know. We just need anyone that can see when the subs are needed. Grazer, good afternoon to you. At one point, I said to Jake, no play around for 20 seconds. Indeed, thank God I went to indeed, Kieran. God bless Kieran. I was fortunate enough to. Did I put the picture up? I put it up the other day. Met Kieran with his silly little fucking hat on, and so no, it's all good. And obviously, safe travels back tomorrow, mate. I know you're going back. Need Craig Dawson against Brighton. Totally agree. Russ, there's a problem with seeing Brighton as prime. Yes. Do you know what, though? They are, I think, the trouble is, it's both. If we'd lost 4-0 to Crystal Palace, I would be 20% more annoyed than I am today, than I was on Saturday. I think there was a combination of, we let them, they're very good, and again, they were very good football inside. There's no denying that. They play a very unusual style of football. Roberto De Zerbi he has the fullbacks. They did it. Their transition is very quick. They play a very different style of football. And it's not unknown. We know that. It's not like that you can't find things about that. But for me, it was the reluctance to change the tactics. That's what frustrated me. I mean, to be honest, Brighton ended up something like 90% completion rate in their passing. 500-600. That's probably better than Man City and people like that for a baguette. But we let them do it. So it was definitely, they were very, very good. We were very, very poor. But they've been very good all season. But anyway, any news on Fabs? No, he had surgery on Thursday. We'll talk about that Hammers headline to be about 3 or 4 o'clock, so we'll get you all know. High 3-0 indeed, 7-0. Should have scored 7, could have did. Yep. Always not lost. 4 of our teams have made the worst team. Well done, lads. And we haven't changed the league position. We're still 16th, anyway. But the goal difference doesn't look as good as it did last week. Shouldn't laugh. Poor man whose fans had a long journey back to the capital. Yep, Man United. I saw Ballon got man of the match. He did. He played very, very well. Gonna have to be a humping. Yep, you're totally right. I think we lost, but we didn't fall down the table like they said on. No, we didn't. We didn't indeed. Who or what is a Gonzo indeed? Good old Gonzo Hammers chat. Afternoon, happy Hammer. Know you well. Can't believe saying they need to go on a holiday break. Well, we will have a break, won't we? Because after the home game, obviously, then as I've said that before, said to you guys before, the Man City game is going to be postponed or be rescheduled. So we don't play again until the 2nd, or West Ham doesn't play again until the 2nd of April in terms of the Southampton game at home, which obviously be a huge game for us. But obviously, some of the players will be going on international duty anyway. We'll take Stevie G. Did I read something being lined up for Paris Saint-Germain or something like that? Will Areola play in the Conference and Prem? I think we'll have to. Hi, Steve. Hope you're well. Probably playing in grass, not paper. Yeah, indeed. Simon, hope you're well. Can we put out a decent performance against Man United and play so shit with a better striker on? That's what I mean. Do you know what? It's like, for me, it's like, I think, and this is the wrong way, it's almost my assumption that we knew that we weren't going to play well against Brighton. We knew we were going to lose against Brighton because, then you've got the justification of him saying, if we invested a load of players on Wednesday and then we had that performance against those guys, and then he wouldn't have no, but because it's almost like he knew the Brighton game was going to be a tough game, we could have probably lose that. It's almost like he puts out a good side then for the Man United game, so he's got that excuse in the bank. I mean, in your press conference, you're talking about Brighton being a bogey side and stuff. He was already alluding to it. I think there was like a slightly defeatist attitude towards the game, and that's what really frustrated me. Whether it's defeatist, whether people say it's a realist, I think it's yin or yang, but it was really frustrating. Apparently, according to Sean, Sully is too costly to appoint a new manager. Really, it's too costly to get relegated. I totally agree. 7 million. I think it's less now, actually. Needs to get his hand. Okay. At least our result wasn't the worst. Indeed, that's the trouble, isn't it? And then it'll go under the radar, won't it? Happy the difference in the two games feels more pressure in the Premier League to instruct not to lose instead of winning. Yeah, fair play. Did he say silly hat? There are other fan channels, West Ham. What? And did he say Kieran? Did he say what's Kieran related to? I can't remember. Anyway, I'll leave him. I don't know. I mean, you can accept defeat if you at least put up a fight. Yeah, I agree. No job to me as is yesterday's man. Yeah, but I think, Steve, unfortunately, realistically, that's the target. But then in the same breath, it will say anyone apart from Moyes. Then we'll get Benitez in. That's what I think will happen. In all honesty, if it happens, Rice has given up with him. We'll see. Fulham didn't outthink or outfight Brighton in a normal person's word. Brighton dominated that game and suffered a late smash and grab goal. The team was shocking. It was shocking, absolutely shocking. Perhaps we get Randolph back as emergency loan. Don't think that work. I don't think that can work, unfortunately. The players are sick of Moyes' tactics and they are effectively downing tools on him. Then I think but then the Wednesday game didn't. I wouldn't say they're down tools the Wednesday game. Do you know what I mean? And you play Man United at Old Trafford, which would have been a typical 3 at the back, 5 at the back, 8 at the back. But we had a real go at them, which to me doesn't. The fact that there was 2 different performances and there's Happy Emirates with virtually the same side, bar a better striker. I can't see them down. I didn't see a downing at all. For me, it was a different tactic, and it didn't work. That's the way it didn't work, and there was no changing that tactic. That's what frustrated me. The tactic used at Man United was working up until 70 minutes. Obviously we was doing so well that basically Ten Hag went, right, it's not working. Half time brings on Casemiro, we score straight away, brings on Rashford, and plays it that way. It was almost like we were set up with the same side but set up differently, and it was almost like letting them play. But unfortunately, the way they play, they cut through the midfield so quickly with passing that it was almost like it was the wrong way to play. It was the wrong way to play. Nothing changed. I heard about Roberto. He's interested in a move return. We can't keep saying it's Brighton. Many people in the team haven't faced Brighton. Totally agree. Totally agree. But this Brighton is different side to the last Brighton. When we played Brighton against under Potter, this side's a better team. And players are relatively the same. It's the manager and the principles. So that's why I think it's about how things are set up. Don't borrow Russ. Don't borrow Russ a fiver. Bad memory. What did I buy him? I don't know. Benitez wants a 3 year. Well, he wants 40-month contract. So what's that? 12. Yeah, so that's 3.5 year contract, isn't it? So that's going to happen. No excuses at performance despite Moyes. They should have played for the shirt and unacceptable. What about the way fans feel? I totally agree, Anthony. I totally agree. I felt really. I mean, I think it was H on Twitter. Bless her. She said something along the same lines, But the thing is, regardless of what happened on Saturday, you'll have 1,400 people in Larnaca, plus probably about another 500. You'll have a couple of thousand people in Greece. Villa, you're probably going to get 50, 60,000 people on that, or at least 50,000 people at the Greece game, at the Villa game. And you're probably going to about 35, 40,000, I reckon, maybe at the Larnaca game next Thursday. We still turn up. We're gluttons for punishment. We're sadomasochists. Really, aren't we? We always turn up. We get beaten up. We get beaten up, but we turn up next day. I think they'll love us again. But that's what we thought. That's us, isn't it? As West Ham fans, we've known no different for the last 40 years. I've known no different. Last 40 years, I literally will go, "Oh, this is our year," but I know it's not going to be realistically. But in here, I think it's going to be our year. But it's never in here, and then that's the same. And that was we come out the Nottingham Forest game thinking we're brilliant. We played well for about 20 minutes, in all honesty. It was a freak 20 minutes. Man United, we played quite well until the last 20 minutes. Then it was the same thing, 4 goals in 20 minutes, basically. And then the Brighton game, another 4 goals, really. But it was almost like we're gonna win. No, we're not gonna win. But it was the manner of the defeat. Got to sit with Moyes. It's a very bizarre season. It is. I mean, to be honest, I think it's too late. I honestly think it's too late now. I think the manager bounce is going to take 2 or 3. The only thing is you've got the Villa game. After the Villa game, you've got, in essence, 3 weeks. Maybe I think we'll see what happens at the Villa game. I think, and it is on a game-by-game basis. Unfortunately, it is. I think and that's what they sort of said. And I think that's basically what it is at the moment. It really is like that. It shows a lack of forward planning, I think, but it is on a game-by-game basis. And it's not just our game. Unfortunately, it's the week. The fact is, if all the teams around us had won and we were in the bottom 3, I think there would have been a different conversation. And that's unfortunately the way I personally, I think the decision has been made, but that's just me. Next 3 games at home will tell the players have the balls for relegation. I agree, Peter, totally. We can't keep every 3 or. But unfortunately, though, I think that's the modern day now. If you got 3 seasons out of a manager, you've done well. You look at unlike the likes of Guardiola, Klopp. I mean, they tend to be there for a long time because they have had success. But Man United have chopped and changed their manager. I think Ten Hag is the right man for them at the moment for the next couple of years. Spurs chop and change. Chelsea chop and change. I think, there's not many clubs that don't chop and change their managers. The ones that do tend to have more success, but there's a reason why they haven't chopped their manager, because they're doing well. Most of the teams that have chopped their managers haven't done well. I mean, look at Leicester, probably the only exception, same as us. Rodgers still hasn't been sacked yet. And they lost to Southampton at the weekend as well. Bottom of the table, Southampton. You said you met and you had a city out. He did have a city out. Yeah, I could see him. I could see as I walked in. I thought it was going to be with Kieran. I thought it was going to be like him and his son. It wasn't. It was about 50 of the buggers. They were all over the place. And I could see Kieran straight away because he had his trilby. And we had a beer. We put the world to rights. Anyway, you can't keep a manager that 3-0 down. G Pep, I didn't get it. Last 20 minutes, Russell went back to Moyes. Let's see this out. And deep down, they invite them, and we lost. Yeah. Brighton, aka Chelsea's first team, are a decent side. They are a good side, but yeah, not a good weekend at all. Yeah, under 21s lost 5-1. Women lost, and we lost, and the men lost as well. We need Paladin. We need Paladin Canio. No, Stephen. No, Stephen. No. Not Paladin Canio. No. I love him, but he's an awful man. I mean, same. I love him, but he's also a manager. Yeah, that would be your the final throw of the dice, wouldn't it? You want to dart. That's literally you're going for a double six. You're not going to do it. We lost the game playing our strongest team that cannot play 3 games a week without rotating players. Yep, I agree that. But if that's the case, then why do we play that middle game? That's what I don't understand. At times, like watching the Red Sea parting our players, let them run. There was one, I think it was in Solly Marsh in the first half, where literally Paqueta sort of went and let him run behind him. I just didn't get it. I haven't had lunch for ages, mate. I don't know. Benitez, no thanks. Get Carrick in. I think Carrick would be a great I think Carrick would be a great I would love him to come in the summer. I think in all reality, he might. Yeah, they said it's hard for him to turn it down. I can't see them bringing him in with 13 games left. I honestly genuinely can't. I'd love him. I think Carrick would be a great manager. I think he's going to be a really good manager. He's doing some good stuff at Middlesbrough. I think he's young, he's progressive, he's got the respect to the players. I think he may be in the summer, be great. But the trouble is, if you're going to get a new manager in now, they want 3.5-year contract. They don't want a 6-month contract. They want job security. So you're in a hiding to nothing, I think, whatever you do. I have bad memories. Love this channel. Hammers chat vibes. Tommy and Charlie has lost his hair and calls himself Russ. Doesn't surprise me. Away support turning against Moyes. Yeah, yes, the carrot. Oh yeah, I'll get some. We'll do it this week. We'll cheer ourselves up. Russ, what do you think is the problem in your opinion? I just think we're easy to find out. Do you know, Ludders, my problem, my thing for the problem is we're not adaptability. Adaptability, I think, is my issue. Adaptability. When things need to change, they don't get changed straight away. They take 20 minutes, and that's like an older perception of a manager. Modern managers now, if something don't change, if something that's not looking right, they'll make subs at 30 minutes, half time. They make some critical subs rather than be injured. They'll change things to make it's almost like a chess game. It's almost like a chess game, and it's like that. And you're trying to anticipate the next move before they make that move. And I don't think we do that. It's quite an old style of management. We've got very much, we know we weren't going to make any subs until 60 minutes unless someone's injured, and that's not right. And not only do we know that, the opposition will know that. And also, I think sometimes we're not nasty enough. We're not nasty enough. We haven't got enough grit. Losing Dawson and Noble, we not only did we lose 2 good professionals, we've lost 2 players who are gritty. And I think you need a balance. Every decent side has got someone who's a bit of a bastard. We haven't got any bastard players. And not necessarily on the pit, like within other players, but the referee. And I don't like the way players hound referees and stuff like that. But there was some, and Will made the point when we was chatting just now. That Man United game, there were some dodgy decisions for West Ham. If that was Old Trafford, Fernandez would be in the ref's face, but we don't seem to do that. And even like defenders, again, he seems a very competent, fantastic, like Rolls Royce player, really good, but doesn't seem like a nasty player. I'm not saying I don't want him to become a nasty player, but we do need a little bit of grit. I don't think we've got enough grit in our side. That's what really worries me. I think that's one of the major problems. The setup for Man U was Moyes going for a trophy. I really think he wants to win one, but he feels like he doesn't care about the Premier League. Yeah, I get that. I know you understand. As always, so bad. Really, 4 wins at home minimum. Hard to see under Moyes. We pick up points away from home as well. I think I genuinely, and I know Pete Chelmsford doesn't feel the same. I genuinely think we've got enough to stay up. I think that's the thing. We'll all stay up regardless of how poorly we played this year. I genuinely think that, but. A lot of say the same thing at Brighton. Look like prime. Sooner or later, people realise they are really, really good. They are very, very good, but we were very, very poor. Yeah, you're totally right. Brighton played well. They played twice as well in the weekend as well. They played on the Wednesday away. No, was it away? Home, I can't remember. All players at fault that performance. You're totally right. Allardyce thinks Moyes needs to take the players on holiday. Sam used to love a holiday. They'd always used to go away to like Dubai. I think he had a deal out there. We could get Carrick. We would love to get Carrick. Wolves fans all over doors, same as we were. They're playing that there on a holiday. Usually, usually it's towards the end of the season. They're playing like they're on the beach, but we're a bit far along. And actually, I was listening to Claret and Boo's great show yesterday, as always, from the boys. And Nigel was on there, and Nigel was saying, I think people also are looking at the fact that we're in March, but actually we're a month back. We're in February, really, in terms of a previous month. So there is time. I mean, there's still 13 games. There's still 39 points to play for. But I think I think if we'd lost 2-0 and we'd played the way we played and lost 2-0, I don't think I think because it's a 4-0, it's almost like Man United. If Man United lost to Liverpool 2 or 3-0, it'd be a bad result. But 7 is disastrous. And I think that's the same with us as well. Easy to blame the players, mate. They're on trying to execute. But then Andy, I think also they're for me, they're professional players. They're professionals, and they didn't seem it wasn't the pressing. And if they go against the managers, we don't know what the managers' instructions were, so we don't know how well they've done it against it. But we don't know. I know exactly what you mean. Garino, good afternoon to you. I haven't even started going for the things. They should pay for the fans to have a holiday. They didn't play. They put in zero effort. Happy. They're delighted. Dorsey's are dismayed, sadly. Totally right. Let's not even talk about the Brighton game. I know. I know. What I might do is I might zoom through. This is my point, Pete. This is my point. Games like that, when the opposition, it's the same as if you're playing City, any side where there's a football, where they're good football sides, having having some really clever players, some tippy-tappy players, isn't the right thing to do. Down should have started. 4 now should have started. The side has to be, and then people say, "Oh, you're playing the team. You're not playing." The flip side is, Pete, if we went out and played all the, and played with, these, the more grittier players and fighters, then people say, "Oh, you're playing the opposition, not your own game plan." But unfortunately, that's what teams do. But we don't do that enough. This was I think the setup was wrong for the team we were playing, but part of that is we have 5 first teamers out as well, which we had. Tila Kira he had the sickness bug. He may well have come on. Obviously, Ben Johnson was at Sufal. I think we've missed a lot the last couple of games in terms of that right hand side. Obviously Fabianski, you mentioned that. I thought Areola was to blame for a couple of the goals on Saturday. I thought Wednesday it was a couple of but it's like everything adds itself up, innit? And I think we've missed that Mark Noble, Craig Dawson element. That might be one of the reasons why we were doing so well under those, with those players in there. Is you had that balance between players who could play, and then, as I said, every side needs a Billy Bonds type of player and a Trevor Brooking type of player to be really successful. And I think at the moment we're very much Trevor Brooking players. We haven't got enough Billy Bonds players in my eyes. If Carrick gets up, I don't think he would leave. Whereas Antonio had pulled his hamstring. We'll talk about that on Hammers Headlines this afternoon. He had a hamstring injury from Wednesday's game, by all accounts. Moyes and the players are not 100% to blame, but the board who threw in action and blind faith have created a perfect storm. Heard it fallen out for not getting a start. No, apparently he was injured. There's a lot of injuries apparently. He's lost. Well, I don't know if he. That's the thing. We don't know. I remember interviewing people like Minto and people like that and asking if that ever happens. And he goes, "Yeah, it does. It can happen. It can happen." But then the players galvanise themselves and they become their own unit. And we go back and I know Gio spoke about it as well. But when we interviewed Anton Ferdinand, he spoke about Lucas Neal, acting like a real captain and having players' own meetings. And that's what I was alluding to when Deck had his ones. I was like, that's just like that. Just like Lucas Neal was trying to do. And he, didn't involve Curbs and Mervyn Day in the same way that apparently Deck didn't involve, the backroom staff, Moyes and that lot. So actually, if you lose the players, then the players galvanise themselves and they've got their own professional careers. They don't want to put a relegation on their CV, do they? Really? They haven't played well. Fair play to Emerson. He was the only one who came over at the end of the game and said sorry and clapped the fans, which I thought was great. Nolan almost walked out of Moyes during the second half. Really? I didn't hear that, Manly, but fair enough. Mings was missing, according to your midfield, he did. Without Ariella, it would have been 7-8. Yeah, you're right. I thought isolating his fault maybe again was acceptable. I think the whole team played poorly. Missed the bus, I assume he misses everything. Showed more passion on the bench, throwing his tablets and the players on the pitch. One win away from it's very, very poor. Very poor. Not the poorest, Nottingham Forest, but we're pretty much down there with them. It's sad to see our demise in the league. But there's been saying that, I totally agree. I think the rooms realistically we overperformed. I think you're right. I think we did overperform. I think we did. I think our genuine position is probably about 10th at the moment. And then we talk about fine margins. Everyone talks fine margins, but it is a couple of things going your way, and we're 12th, 11th, but they haven't. And so you're in, the end of the day, the league doesn't lie. And also, unfortunately, you're only judged on your last game. I was listening to watching the Drive to Survive Formula One Netflix, and they had Yuki Tsunoda, and he's talking about getting a new contract, and they said, "Well, I don't care what you've done for the rest of the season. It's based on really what you did the last race, and that's here. X, Y, and Z's great at these two performances, but actually, at the moment, people are judging the West Ham squad on the Brighton performance, and then they'll be judging him on the Larnaca performance, and they'll be judging one on, regardless of what happened in the previous 3 or 4 games, it doesn't matter. Bizarre thing is Moyes has made the same mistake in taking Benny off as he did in the home tie. Both times didn't work. 70% Moyes, 20% and 10 players. Yeah, no, fair enough. Injuries to me have been a difference this season. They started us on the wrong foot, I think. And if we had the full squad in the beginning of the season, I think we'd had more points on the board, and we'd have still played poorly, but I think we'd had more points on the board. You can see Moyes' face when he went 2 days. I'm in the shit. I don't know how to change it. If tactics confusing, players need to take responsibility. I totally agree. My point was, we play bad, but that's what a lot of team supporters say after they've been beaten by them. They seem to take it upon them. That makes a lot of teams trip. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Russ, I know we were playing 30 games ago, but look who we're playing. But for me, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, I like them games because it's not just, but it's the fan base as well. Arsenal going to be a great side, great times. It's going to be a good game. The Man United game is going to be a good game. The fans will be up for it. Liverpool, the fans going to be up for it. And those are the type of random games that the teams turn up in. It's when we play Brentford, when we play Forest. To be honest, we struggled in that Forest game until 70 minutes in. So yeah, I think by the time we play the likes of Liverpool, we should, fingers crossed, have a fully fit squad. Fabianski will be back as well, so again, it gives a bit more competition between the two goalkeepers. Miss Soufal on Saturday, too many players, not enough energy, not clinical enough. I totally agree. If we're out of the conference next Thursday, then I think I'm actually done. Well, I think that's probably one of the reasons why he's still around. I think there's the fact is there is still the possibility of progressing in the conference. And the fact is we're not in the bottom 3 either. And I think that's probably the reason. I know I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that's probably trying to find some sort of, what's the word? Realization. Trying to justify the decisions. Wednesday, I really messed up. Saturday, I don't think any keeper saves those. I think, to be honest, one of the goals Scott. I think Ariola's distribution let him down a little bit. But again, I'm picking the whole side played shit. You can get away carrying 2 players, but 8 impossible. Bang on. As I said, this season, you can carry a poor performance from 1 or 2 players. But the fact is, we've had 6, 7, 8. That game on Saturday, 10 players didn't perform to their ability. 9 maybe, if you're being generous. But yeah. Don't give a toss about the conference. It's all about Premier League survival. You are, Steve, but I think for the fans, I think they need a little holiday to Cyprus. Give them a few days, drinking the old mythos and all that stuff. Issue is set up is wrong. It's like we do not do the research in your position, but just go for what we always do. That's a great shout, Greeno. That's a great shout. You know exactly how Brighton are going to play, and you should set up your team. It's arrogance maybe to assume that you're not going to be setting up your team to combat the side you're playing. But then again, we didn't do that against Man United, really, did we? We sort of played our own game against Man United, but it's gonna be like this all up and down for the rest of the season. I guarantee it. No leaders whatsoever. Yep, basically our squad has not got a pair of balls between them. Wow. Soufal is captain material despite the abuse he gets. He always plays for his shirt and gives 100%. He does. No, I don't think Areola was 100% blame free of that game as well. You know, I just thought he wasn't. A couple of times now. I mean, that's the first goal we've conceded off a corner as well. It's like the defense wasn't great. I think he was. I just thought, Andy. I thought sometimes, you know, I think everyone assumed that Areola is a fan. He's a great goalkeeper, and everyone's like, "Oh, Fabianski." But actually, I don't think Areola's been playing particularly well since a couple of good saves. Granted, could have been 7 or 8 easily, but he's not. He wasn't 100% not to blame for some of the goals. In terms of some way, Fabianski's always called out when he doesn't save a shot or whatever like that. But we knew as soon as we know Areola's not good at penalties though, so we know that. But so I'm saying. Everyone was at fault, you know. Maybe Ings probably the only one because he didn't only get any possession and he was like still getting into positions. But I think everyone else, I think there's a real real sort of between Agard and Areola that communication isn't there yet. And that needs to improve. He messed up 2, but Scott, you're right. So fault on him on Saturday. You too, right? Bit like this channel, then Russ got a bit silly with some chains. Bit then H. Bit like this channel, then HH. Russ and Anton got a bit silly with some chainsaws. What? There we go. I don't know. I painted my garage door, which is more fun than watching that. Fair enough, Dan. No Noble, Collins, Arnie, or Pumped Up Lanzini. Pumped Up Lanzini? What players are we going to show what needed to be the drop? We've lost Noble, yeah. Just cheer up. You're a bit, God forbid, picks up an injury. Yep, indeed. The only outfield player who carried a credit with Emerson. Yeah, I agree. I thought, yeah, I'm not even going to have time. I'm not even going to do the ratings. I'm not going to time. I'll give everyone a 5. Apart from Ben Johnson, I gave a 4. I just don't know. That's it. Bowen can make scoring twins, but he can't score anywhere else. Boom, boom. They were a unit, but they were all played shit together. Unacceptable. Yep. Had a bust on the touchline. Fair enough. Lucky we're missing their manager and 7 players. A team that beat us 3-1 conceded 7 to Liverpool, who in turn conceded 3 to Brighton. So losing 4-0 was a decent result. Love it. There was arguing Moyes on the touchline deck was very pissed off. Getting over in the coaching staff, just find a place for him. That's what's changed. If Moyes was to exactly keep us up, does anyone want him to stay next year? I think there's 2 conversations actually. That I think there's a conversation until the end of the season, and I think there is another conversation in the summer because there's a big rebuilding job as well. Several players are out of contract. We haven't discussed any of the extensions on some of those players like Oggy and Fabianski and stuff. I believe, and Soufal as well. I believe that's until there's been some sort of resolution in terms of what league we're going to be playing in. Rumour is Antonio had words with Moyes and threw a wobbly. I heard he did he was knackered and did his ankle in, but his hamstring. But that's it. Haskell, I thought I'm just going through some of these. Moyes, like when he smashed his iPad, said to him, "Don't know why you're laughing. It's your iPad I chose." Can we hire Irvine to stand on the touchline 5 to 6 minutes to get the points we need? He still sort of technically works for us as a consultant, doesn't he? The only thing that brought a smile on my face was Man United. Yep, did help. Having a fully fit squad doesn't guarantee points. You're totally right, Peter. Even Traore found the back of the net. Not really. Let's not forget we can have new owners next season. Is Moyes still at him? Certainly is. The ECL is a side note. Lose to Villa, and we have the international rates maybe changes. Yep. I think there's an option there, Garino, that's for sure. Put Moyes in the stand and put Alan Irvine cut out on the touchline. Job done. We've got a thought Brighton was going to be like 5, 6, 7, 8. The right of the rule after the reverse at our place. Well, I think, Harry, the trouble was we didn't even start well. You know, even the kickoff we did wrong. In it, you right, Bill? So the dog just went like staring into the abyss just then. We even took the kickoff. We fucked that up. You know, so that set you up already. The fact is, Tilo Kehrer got sick the night before, so we had 8 players on the bench. Little things like that. Then we know it's a bogey team. The manager says a bogey team in the press conference. So we're already setting ourselves up for a bit of a foul, I think, already. Thought Ings and them were not bad. Again, it was okay. The rest struggled. If Rice made some errors. We're the only in the team that does not have a data analyst. Right onto the core. Yeah, also the only other team who hasn't scored in the first 15 minutes of a Premier League game. Until last week, we're the only team not to have conceded a corner. Go from corner, but we did that. So that was the first corner Brighton scored as well. I said at the start of the season, I'd take 17th from the Conference League. I think a lot of people would have done, like at the beginning. Oh yeah, as long as you stay up, but now it's like, oh, you've got to stay up first. It's a bit. It's funny how the season goes, and your perception changes of what you accept. I'll be happy to find anyone who would be happy for him to stay. I don't. It's far too toxic. Like Grant, Allardyce, Rhoda. Waste of time doing ratings. No, that's I didn't bother. We talked 40 minutes. We had one decent performance. We didn't say that, Andy. I think we had a decent 20 minutes. Really, didn't we? We had a decent 20 minutes, and that was it. All right, let's have a look. Let's go through him. I can see us getting thumped in Greece. We're playing in Cyprus, so if we get thumped in Greece, it'd be very impressive, Mandy. We're absolutely dog. Made us look brilliant back in front of a decent attacking side. We show our true colours. I too will take 17th with Moyes gone before the summer, or preferably now. I don't think it's going to happen this side of the summer. I'll be honest. Be okay once the new signings bed in. Cup games are cup games. I still feel like we're a few tweaks away from playing generally a lot better. But then we're unhappy for us to lose the Larnaca if that means we focus on staying up. It's your question. No, because we shouldn't be losing to Larnaca. Anyway, Bizarre was going with Skamaka. Sure, he's fit by now to play decent time. See, I think the Skamaka thing, I think Moyes at 2-0 when we was going down, it was almost like he couldn't see a way out. So it was almost like, why risk Skamaka? That's what I got out of substitutions. It might be totally wrong, but that's what I did. If Skamaka doesn't start against the Farmer Fruit Pickers and it's all over, I think he will start. Our manager used to be the right side of 50. I would actually like to keep Moyes in the summer, but as an advisory, we need a younger, more progressive manager. Could start an argument in an empty room. Skamaka, I haven't seen enough from Skamaka to believe he's the answer. I think he is, but he's just, I don't know. 7 goals and 10 starts. I mean, Ings got 8 goals, but he hasn't started so many as him. Why when he plays Skamaka? Moyes, I genuinely don't know. Genuinely don't know. So that to me shows a little bit of the team we're playing, because I would have played Skamaka in the Souček role, because Skamaka as a 10 is very effective, and him and Ings can also almost push up as a 2 up front. I fully expect Skamaka to be playing against Larnaca on Thursday, and maybe that starts giving him some minutes. I honestly genuinely think he didn't risk him. Bring on, because we were like 2-0 down. For me, it looked like he'd given up on the game, but again, that's just my perception. If Russ is next year, Moyes, not only would it be out of contract, Dex leaving, like I said, 3 or 4 players being transfer requests. Even playing poor, better was we only said that score. We're totally right. I'm going to go Zoom 3. So, I'm so sorry. There's so many comments, but I've got to go soon. I feel bad for the fans who made the trip. I totally agree. But we really don't. We would be, Tony. But we really didn't think we would be there. Yeah, no, I know. If anyone suffers from depression, they don't support West Ham. If we did go 2 strikes up front, needs to be in the Souček role, a bit further. That's exactly what I said to Carino. I'm not sure he's a good player, but a bad pick for West Ham. I would like to give Mbama. Yeah, I can't see it happening, mate. But I know what you mean. He's like a Haller. Moyes got rid of the latter because he didn't suit our style. It's almost, for me, it does seem like he's starting to put, like with this new formation, there's definitely a better spot for Skamaka in this new formation than there is in the previous iteration. But anyway, I mean, we all want Skamaka and Ings up front. To a man and woman, we do, but that's just me. I would like to see 18s play the Villa game. You know how to win, indeed. Well, anyway, guys, thanks very much for your contributions. Player ratings, everyone got 5, apart from Ben Johnson got 4. That's it. I'll be back Hammers headlines in a couple of hours' time to give you the latest injury updates with the Larnaca game in touch. On Thursday, we'll have all the previews and predicted 11s. Be quite interesting, all that type of stuff. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it one of those lovely subscribers. Thank you very much. Appreciate it always. But it's never nice talking about West Ham not playing well, but it happens quite a lot this season, but also the manner, and I appreciate it. But look, we're all in it together, aren't we? We're all West Ham fans, and we've all been through a lot worse, and we're all in it together. Come rain or shine, we'll still support the team, innit? That's the truth. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.